Good evening. I'm Kelda Yoon. It was all high spirits at Pearson Airport tonight as a contingent of Team Canada left for the Games in Paris. Among them, athletes who will be competing in a sport that's set to make its Olympic debut. Our Nama Weingarten has more.
Canada's finest athletes are on their way to bring home the gold. We're at Pearson Airport, where Team Canada headed out to the Paris Olympics Wednesday, and the spirits were high.
It's an honor flying all the passengers we do at Air Canada, but this is distinctly different. This is special to us.
Passports in hand, athletes from all over the country were excited to board. This year, Team Canada is made up of 338 athletes, including ones competing in a sport you've never seen in the Olympics before, breaking.
Say what?
Canadian breaking sensation Phil Kim, better known as B-Boy Phil Wizard, will get to show off his moves this summer.
This is kind of history for us in the making. It's the first time as breaking makes its debut, and I'm very, very excited and also very, very nervous. I want people to know that breaking has a lot more complexity than people think. A lot of people think it's just spinning on your head and doing all these crazy movements, which it definitely is, but there's a lot of creativity, there's a lot of difficulty besides that to it, and I'm really excited for people to see it for the first time.
Kim was crowned world champion at the 2022 WDSF World Breaking Championship. A year later, he became the first ever male breakdancer to be crowned Pan Am Games champion. And that victory set the stage for him to be at this year's Olympics.
I did never imagine this at all. I've said this many times. I didn't really grow up watching the Olympics, to be honest. It wasn't something that was on my radar because I always just watched breaking. But honestly, I've been scrolling Instagram for the past little while, and you see all the people at the village, and it's just been getting me so amped up, and I'm excited to be there with my friends, my family, and the rest of Team Canada.
Fans also making their way to Paris, excited to cheer on the athletes after being unable to do so during the last Summer Games in Tokyo.
The fact that there was no spectators in Tokyo, I think, really was a downer. I know a lot of the athletes feed off of the energy of the crowd, and so it'll be a completely different feel, and especially for those that were in Tokyo and also now in Paris, they'll have a completely different experience.
Team Canada brought home 24 medals from Tokyo. This year, it's projected our athletes could win 21 medals, including 7 gold. The preliminary games just started, and the first Canadian athletes to compete on the world stage will be the archers and the women's soccer team on Thursday. The much-anticipated opening ceremony will be this Friday, with our live coverage kickstarting at 1 p.m. Eastern. Nama Weingarten, CBC News, Toronto.
The City of Toronto is getting millions of dollars from the province to help speed up construction on the Gardiner Expressway. The work started back in March with lane restrictions grinding traffic to a halt during peak travel times. This new funding to get it done faster comes with a condition that construction be able to happen day and night. Chris Glover has more on the plan and reaction from nearby residents who may now have to contend with the noise 24/7.
Unprecedented and unmanageable. Liberty Village resident Trevor DeWin shot this video from his balcony. Total gridlock through his neighborhood during the evening rush hour.
How infuriating was that?
So I've seen this every single day.
He says it's gotten even worse since construction projects near his neighborhood started, including the construction on the Gardiner, closing some lanes on the expressway for years.
I want to make sure that people can see what I'm seeing, because when you're at the street level, you can only see so far ahead of you in the road. But when you're up on the 20th floor, you see that this goes for miles.
That's a pretty accurate depiction of what I would expect from an aerial view coming down. It's pretty disconcerting and a little bit depressing for sure.
Oh my God, that's insane. This is what we see.
We showed his video to neighbors who echoed his congestion concerns.
For people who have to travel every day to work, this is hideous. You can't get through this traffic.
It's terrible. The traffic is at an all-time high. It makes it impossible to live here.
Drivers have also been complaining. A recent study found the Gardiner construction has increased commute times by as much as 250%.
We're just used to it now. It's part of daily life kind of thing, this traffic. And there's nothing we can do.
Turns out there is something that can be done.
I use the Gardiner almost every single day commuting into Queen's Park. I can tell you it's added almost 45 minutes to my drive into the city.
The provincial transport minister speaking from experience as he announced to speed up construction on the Gardiner, the Ford government is promising $73 million.
It's about a recognition of, all levels of government, both provincial and municipal government, that we need to do something here to help our city, to help our province, and it will have economic impacts.
In exchange for the provincial money, the city has agreed to ramp up construction work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
I am pleased that the province has stepped in to help finance this acceleration.
The city just posted this cool time-lapse video online showing the progress of the work already on the vital highway that carries 140,000 people daily. The city says it'll now be able to finish the project a year earlier by April 2026 instead of 2027.
That's way better. That's great. Yeah, I just want to see it to believe it.
The province says there will be financial incentives worked into the ramped-up timeline. If deadlines are not met, money will not be remitted to the contractors.
If those individuals, that contractor does not meet the specific deadlines, then that payment will not be made. So it's a very much an incentivization plan to ensure that the contractor is able to deliver.
The early completion means it'll be done before FIFA World Cup games are played at BMO Stadium, right beside the highway.
It's going to be so helpful. There's lots of families that live here. There's lots of people that live here that just can't move. It's gridlock. Yeah.
Do you have any concerns as a resident that can already hear the construction on the highway? Do you have any concerns that now could be going 24/7?
Yeah, but we already hear noise 24/7.
Some Liberty residents weren't worried about the potential of more all-night noise, while others fear a real-life construction nightmare will keep them up. How are you going to feel Tuesday 3 a.m. if you're hearing jackhammering on that highway?
Yeah, that's going to be horrible. I don't know how we're going to deal with that. So I don't know, maybe earplugs.
We have also seen a thoughtful approach to testing out what 24/7 work looks like.
Local councillor Asma Malik says other 24/7 projects have taught important lessons, including keeping the loudest work to the daytime.
The commitment has been to ensure that folks are able to get a good night's rest, even in our busy downtown communities.
A promise Trevor DeWin is hanging on to, just as much as he is hopeful the completed project will ease the daily gridlock in his neighborhood.
It's kind of like an early adopter bonus. You get to put up with a little extra trouble, but the city's more yours because you've really seen it through some of its like challenges.
And now, instead of 3 years of challenges from the Gardner construction, now the promise is it'll just be 2. Chris Glover, CBC News, Toronto.
2 people are dead and 2 others seriously injured after what police are calling a gun battle in Scarborough. It happened overnight in a strip mall parking lot in the area of Ellesmere and Midland. Tyler Cheese has those details.
At this point, what I can tell you is the scene is extensive. There is a very significant number of casings on the scene.
Toronto police say around 50 gun shell casings and 1 firearm were recovered at the scene of a shooting that killed 2 people and injured 2 others.
It appears to have been some kind of gun battle. I don't have any information with regard to the number of groups or number of persons involved.
Police responded to the call just after 2:30 in the morning. 1 victim, a man, was pronounced dead at the scene. 3 others, 2 men and a woman, were transported to a nearby trauma center with serious injuries. The woman later died in hospital. Residents of the neighborhood say they're concerned.
I just think it's a horrible thing and that they need more police walking out and around. It's time to move, let's just say that. It's too close to home.
This woman lives just behind the plaza where the shooting took place.
We go for walks, we drive here, this many bullets being shot off. It's kind of scary, right?
There's a lot of gunplay here. If I lived in this area, I'd probably be concerned. But I don't know. I don't know what to tell you about whether or not to be concerned here.
So far, police haven't released any details about possible suspects.
It's still very early in the investigation. We still need to determine the roles of everyone involved. So that will be part of the ongoing investigation. We are obtaining whatever video we can. And again, we are seeking additional information. So anyone with dash cams or any other footage that they have, please come forward to the police, no matter how small you think it is.
Now, police did say they believe that more than 1 gun was involved in this incident, but aside from that, they're still trying to figure out exactly what happened here, and they're asking anyone with information to contact them. Tyler Cheese, CBC News, Toronto.
1 person is dead after a fiery crash in Mississauga. Police saying they won't be identifying the victim while they investigate.
These investigations are very complex. As you can see behind me, there is a very large scene. There are a number of evidence markers on the roadway as well. So our investigators will be drawing at all straws to, again, paint a picture of what occurred to determine the aggravating factors before this collision took place.
Police say 2 drivers were heading southbound towards the intersection of McLaughlin and Britannia roads. The vehicles collided, sending one of them into the oncoming lane, where it hit a hydro pole and burst into flames. Police say the driver was pronounced dead at the scene. They say the driver of the second vehicle remained at the scene and is cooperating. Toronto police are investigating after a passenger allegedly stabbed a rideshare driver inside the vehicle. This was the scene near Kingston Road and Shepherd Avenue East in Scarborough. Police say they were called to this area just before 2 o'clock this afternoon. Paramedics took the driver to the hospital in serious condition. The male suspect is still outstanding. He's described as 5'7" and about 20 to 25 years old. Now, Uber confirms that it was one of their drivers that was attacked. In a statement, the company says what this driver went through is absolutely terrifying, and our thoughts are with him as he recovers from this senseless attack. They say the rider was banned from the platform, and they stand ready to assist police with the investigation. A convicted sex offender who allegedly hid a dead body in an East End apartment is now wanted on additional charges. Ray-Jean Perron has been wanted on a Canada-wide warrant since 2021 after breaching his parole. Police believe he may be hiding out somewhere in Toronto and warn that he is a threat to public safety. Investigators charged him with multiple sex offenses back in 2015. He is now facing additional charges of assault, sexual assault, uttering threats, and forcible confinement. He's also wanted for a charge of indignity to a human body in a separate case. Police alleging he hid a person's body in an apartment after they died of natural causes. Welcome back. Ontario is looking at expanding the number of illnesses that pharmacists can treat. Health Minister Sylvia Jones says the province is consulting with the industry on treating 14 more common ailments.
Pharmacist prescribing has been a huge success in Ontario. In less than 1 year, Ontario has become one of the leading jurisdictions in all of Canada in providing healthcare services through our pharmacies, making accessing care faster and easier than ever.
The expanded list would include sore throat, shingles, and some sleep disorders. Pharmacists may also soon be able to perform tests for strep throat and administer more vaccines. Part of the changes could also see pharmacy technicians be able to administer some shots. Ontario first expanded pharmacists' scope of practice last year. Currently, they can treat and prescribe medications for 19 ailments, such as pink eye and cold sores. Well, some owners at a Mississauga condo building say they are fed up with what they are calling an unfair and overbearing condo board. They say they fear harassment and intimidation from the board, citing the condo corporation's frequent use of legal letters. Sarah McMillan has more.
Rochelle Gomez loves her home, but in the hallways of her Mississauga condo building, she feels on edge.
You just don't feel safe here.
That feeling started when she got her first notice from the condo's management in February last year, saying she had violated rules by allowing an overnight guest. The building does have strict visitor rules requiring permission for a guest to stay more than one night per month, but that rule wasn't added until months after Gomez got in trouble.
After I received that first letter in February, I felt scared and I felt alone. I didn't know what to do.
Those feelings have only escalated since then. In April this year, she got a letter from the condo corporation's lawyer saying she had made defamatory and/or derogatory comments about a company it had hired for HVAC work and violated rules by allowing that overnight visitor who appeared to be intoxicated. The letter said her conduct constitutes workplace harassment.
And I was fined $800 for that, but none of it was true.
She's one of more than a dozen owners at 135 Hillcrest Avenue, raising concerns about how the building is run and who say they feel they're being monitored in their own home.
I've reviewed legal letters sent to 7 different condo owners on behalf of the corporation over the past several years for issues ranging from alleged harassment to violation of rules, noise complaints, spreading gossip, and derogatory comments. I've reached out to the board's president, the building's management, and the condo's lawyer. They've not responded to my calls or emails.
Among the issues that led to legal letters, a dispute over the style of blinds installed by one couple and a series of emails sent by Ralston Sequeira, where he raised concerns about a few issues, including the strict overnight visitor policy.
We had a lot of hopes coming into this condo. And I feel sad that just because I raised concerns, and these are valid concerns, I am being targeted and with legal letters, false noise complaints.
Friction between condo owners and boards is not uncommon, but according to the founder of the Condo Owners Association of Ontario, the situation at 135 Hillcrest sounds extreme.
There's no reason for this. The board needs to chill out and remember the fact that they do represent the owners and the corporation. So only deal with issues that are going to be important to the entire building.
Linda Pinizzato says constant legal letters will only create more conflict and says people should be able to speak freely to their neighbors without fear of being accused of spreading gossip. On the flip side, condo lawyer Audrey Loeb says there are times when owners and tenants don't realize their behavior has become problematic.
It can cross a line from being inquisitive or inquiring to actually being the kind of conduct where it goes on and on and on and it becomes harassing.
But she says in cases where owners do need to stand up to their board, she suggests hiring a lawyer to help navigate the Condominium Act. The owners I spoke with say they desperately want a change in their condo board's leadership.
They need to manage the building as a big house. It's a big house with 341 rooms. It's not a correctional facility.
135 Hillcrest Avenue is run by a 3-person board with one position coming up for election each year. Owners can also requisition a meeting where they could vote to remove a board member. To call a meeting, they need signatures from at least 15% of owners. But some owners say collecting those signatures and communicating with their neighbors isn't easy. They fear they could be accused of spreading gossip and hit with more legal letters they have to pay for. Sarah McMillan, CBC News, Toronto.
Heavy rainfall drenching Toronto today, causing flooding in some parts of the city. The city was under a severe thunderstorm watch this afternoon, with parts of the DVP and Lakeshore briefly flooded. The rainfall also causing some transit disruptions. Subway trains were temporarily bypassing St. Patrick and Osgood stations due to flooding. The severe weather comes just 1 week after Toronto was hit with nearly 100 millimeters of rain in just a few hours, causing widespread flooding. It's one of hockey's greatest traditions. Every summer, each player on the Stanley Cup winning team gets their own day with the trophy, and they can take it wherever they want. Today, Florida Panthers defenseman Brandon Montour took the cup to his hometown in Six Nations. Greg Ross has more.
It wasn't only hockey fans who lined the streets of Ohsweken early this morning. People from all over Six Nations and southern Ontario, for that matter, came to this tiny community today to celebrate a very special visitor.
We get to see the Stanley Cup.
While many were in awe of what is often referred to as the world's greatest trophy, today was really about pride, because the man bringing the Stanley Cup here is one of their own, Brandon Montour.
It's cool because he won the Stanley Cup and it's really hard to win. It's pretty cool and something that I want to do.
Montour was just as proud to be able to bring the cup home.
I mean, you can't really describe how it feels, but very grateful and obviously honored to kind of be in the position I'm in, and obviously to win at this level, you can't beat it. I was a kid once, and I grew up obviously idolizing players, not just hockey but lacrosse, and I think when you have one of your own or somebody that's close to you, even if you don't know me, reach this level, and especially like a day today, it's just a bonus for any kid growing up.
Montour had hoped to bring the cup here last summer, but his Panthers lost in the Stanley Cup final to the Vegas Golden Knights. Still, many of the people that were here today came out last year as well, when Montour came home after losing, to show their appreciation.
Losing last year coming, and then we had that community hall and seeing how many people were supportive of that, and then obviously luckily enough being in the spot of going back and winning this time.
And that made sharing the cup with the people of Ohsweken today just a little sweeter. Greg Ross, CBC News.
And Chris, yeah, a little bit of rain didn't put a damper on things. So many people coming out. We love to see it.
Yeah, and luckily we are drying out, but it's certainly been a very wet July, Kelda. In fact, today's rainfall, I think, has allowed this July, 2024, to go down in the record books as the wettest July on record. The average rainfall for a month of July is about 75.7 millimeters. We typically go over that. All we need is a couple of big rounds of thunderstorms to get over that. But the July rainfall so far as of yesterday is 186 millimeters. Today I'm estimating, obviously we have to wait for Environment Canada to verify, close to 30 millimeters, which would give us a grand total of 216 if you do the math, which would trump the wettest July on record of 2008 of 193.2. I think we've done it. In terms of the overall picture for story-wise, temperature-wise, I should say, we were seasonable today. We peaked at around 27. Very similar temperatures outside of the city. Of course, with the rainfall, we had a couple of waves move through. That did cool things off. Now all the active weather continues to reside across Niagara. You're going to start to clear out. Eastern Ontario continues to clear out. And behind this system, we get high pressure. And it's going to dominate. I mean, I'll show you the big picture. Not much to show you. Through the day tomorrow, rainfall continues to build in towards Atlantic Canada. That's our system from today. But there's a void of cloud. There's a void of active weather. Everything's kind of shooting its way up to northwestern Ontario because the dome of high pressure is just sitting over top of us, and that just doesn't allow any active weather potential, at least, of course, for now. So as I said yesterday, a nice run of sun, something to make some plans for. I have daytime highs around 25 for tomorrow, feeling closer to 27. Humidity not a factor. Highs around 27 for Friday with lots of sunshine, feeling like 29. Down to 16 for the overnight. And even tonight and tomorrow night, down to 16. That's much more comfortable for overnight sleeping. If you don't like the whir of air conditioning, you can actually open up your window and allow Mother Nature to cool off your bedroom to help you sleep. But then the heat starts to build again. 28 for Saturday, 30 for Sunday, 30 again for Monday. Lots of sunshine both days. We're still dry, Kelda, through those days. Humidity will likely make it feel like the mid-30s. It's Tuesday and Wednesday that we get back into some showers, which will once again keep adding to those rainfall totals for this month of July.
All right. Thanks so much, Chris. And that's our show for you tonight.